Hey everyone and welcome back to my channel. It is Binky. How are you? I am doing well. So today I'm going to be looking at a palette, but this is the new one, the Rose palette, the Divine Rose I think it is. I'll put it to the side. Yeah, it's been a long week. Yeah. So this is what the packaging looks like. When I did receive it, it had a little bit of a bump on the back. No big deal. I keep the packaging because I think it's beautiful. That, and it's the only way to be able to tell the palettes apart. So really beautiful. I really do like the artwork for the Pat McGrath shadows. I just think they're really great. Divine Rose, in case I'm not sure if I said that or not. 3 hours sleep. Yeah. So again, it looks like your standard palette, the standard Pat McGrath, really heavy, luxurious, tons of fingerprints, no way to avoid it. But this is what it looks like, not willing to clean it every day. And ta-da! The bevel glass mirror that you can move around, it looks like. Oh, no, you can't, but it doesn't matter. I don't really use the mirror. But here it is. Here are the colors, and as you can see, well, let me start with this. So a lot of Pat McGrath's palettes that come out are very warm tone, I find, and I'm a cool tone girl. So what I will say is that this palette, looking at it, I'm just going to stare at it straight on. I have used every shade in it. For the majority is a little bit more cool tone. There definitely are some more warm tones here, which you can definitely see. But for the most part, it tends to be more neutral or cool, which is a rarity for most palettes, especially Pat McGrath, except for her first Mothership, I think, which was more cool tone. Also, what you'll see about this is there are some beautiful finishes, but looking at it, I know I keep pulling it away to make sure what I'm saying is correct. There aren't as many special shades with a lot of the glitters. Like in other palettes, it'll be like a glitter fest, and this one is a little bit more docile. And that's kind of why I like this palette. Now, I love a good glitter glitter bomb. Doing well here. But you can't always pull that off in day-to-day life. And I know some people are like, I do. Well, I don't know what type of job you do, but there are, people who are lawyers, doctors, office workers. You can't wear stuff like that in most cases. Some places you can, some you can't. So that's why when I say it's a little bit more wearable, I mean in day-to-day situations for most people. And there's some people who work in artistic places that can wear whatever the heck they want. Most people can't do that. So this is very wearable for all occasions. And I will say that I wore this for about a week because I really wanted to test it out. And the reality is I really freaking love this. So spoiler alert, this is probably one of my favorite Pat McGrath palettes, hands down. Now, some of you are going to say it's extremely pedestrian, maybe perhaps a little boring, but you would be wrong. The nice thing about it is there are fun shades in here that are very wearable. Very, very wearable, which, yes. That's what I was looking for, and that's what I got. I'm actually very happy. This sold out quickly. If you were in New York City, you were able to pick up one for free if you went to the location. But it's been a little bit more difficult to get for those who were not able to do that. So, yes. But this is what it looks like, and I absolutely love it. And what I do like is it's very neutral, very cool tone, but then you have these pops of warm tones here. So you can also make a warm tone look. So it's a very smart palette, very perfect finishes for everyday eye looks, but you can also punch it up with a couple of these golds to make it a little bit more, yeah, for those times that you want them. So what I'm going to do is, obviously you can see I am pale as hell and in need of some makeup, especially to wake me up after this crazy week. So I'm going to do a very easy eye look, something that I would do every day. No, I'm not going to go in with something dramatic. I may do, a makeup bingo here with this. Not that you're going to get anything too crazy with this. No, you're not. But I may do that just to show you the different looks. Also, throughout the video, I will show you the different looks that I got from this palette to show what I use day to day, just so you can see a little bit more of how I felt about each color and how everything worked for me. And with that, let's get some color on this pale face. and some coffee. Stat. So I've already prepped my eyes, and again, I want to go in with something very easy. Because I'm going to be filming quite a lot of videos today because I haven't had a chance lately. It's been extremely busy, as I've said. So unfortunately, I've not been able to clean off my brushes. I cleaned them earlier this week. Been using them, so everybody's like, ugh, nobody else is using these palettes. So, yes. Sorry. Yeah, I cleaned them like 2 or 3 days ago. So I'm okay with it. I'm going to clean them this weekend. So don't you worry. But everybody's going to go, what are you doing? Going in with this brush that it needs to be cleaned again. But it was cleaned 2-3 days ago. So I'm going to go ahead with this neutral color that I always do. And of course I'll put them to the side as well. I always like hitting my brushes just because, again, we're not going to have anything too crazy with this because that's not what I'm going for today. I need something very, very easy going. So what I will say is with Pat McGrath in the past, I've had some problems with her mattes not working that well for me, and it depends on the palette, and they'll sometimes stick in one section and won't move. This is not the case with this one. The blendability on these is just fantastic, actually. Just make sure you pound your brush, but beyond that, it's really great. This is actually some of the best mattes that I've seen in a while, and other people don't have problems with mattes, but sometimes I do. It may be that they're just too dark for my skin tone. I find a lot of the time because they're meant for the masses, and I am not the masses. I have very fair skin, and so sometimes they can read a little bit too dark on me, or they skip, or they just don't blend as well as I would like. And I feel like that issue, at least for me and my skill set, maybe that's part of it, I don't know. Not a professional makeup artist at all. just a regular Joe. So these work really well, and they blend out really well, and they're really easy to work with. Okay, so before I go, I do things a little bit more backwards than most people, but that's because everybody has their own thing that they do. So you can see this is really light. And so what I do want to show is the difference between using, you know, they tend to work differently whether you use like a Fix Plus or a glitter glue versus just putting it on your lid. And I kind of want to show that today because it does make a difference. I've worked with this quite a bit, and I find that to be the case with Pat McGrath. Either way you look at it, with almost every palette. So this is a glitter glue. Of course, this is from Too Faced. So I'm just going to put that here on one eye, hold it aside because I'll look like an idiot if I if I just do one eye one way. So looking at this, I want to go in with something. I want a little sparkle. I mean, who doesn't want a little sparkle in their life? So like I said, this is going to be kind of a more not as exciting look. So actually, let me start with this one, and I'm going to show you what I mean. So here is by itself, and again, it's this one right here. Really beautiful. Part of it is it does match my skin tone a little bit more, but when you put it on, you will see this is what it looks like versus when you put it on with a glitter glue. Bam. Bam, my friends. You can tell a huge difference. At least I can. I don't know if it's picking up that well, but yeah, it is. At least from this angle, you can definitely see that, yeah, I'm putting more on. And I will put more on because some are like, well, you're putting more on that side. You are correct. I just find that her shades tend to be very powdery when it comes to a lot of the special finish ones, and without a glitter glue, you can see that it's just, there's not as much grip. And so you don't get as much on there. Now this one is a look that I went with almost every day. I'll actually put this to the side. I went with this look almost every freaking day because it's very wearable. You can wear it anywhere, and yet you still have a little bit of pizzazz on the eye, which I really like. So it gives a little bit of a, hey you, to the man, saying you're not gonna hold me down. I got glitter on my eyes to a degree, but you can't send me home because it's still professional, and that's what I'm about. That's pretty much how I live my life, actually. But yeah, So I'm going to go ahead and do it on both eyes because I don't want to look like an idiot. So here we go with the glitter glue. So it gives you a better idea of what it looks like. But then I want even a little bit more. And this is what I found. You know, there are these really nice special shades. Like these are more like satiny types, but even this one. But these are more the special shades here. This one's very nice. It's like a very light kind of sparkle to the eye. This brings the fun home. But what I do want to point out is that this one, first off, what I do want to point out is that there is on top of these, you really have to take off the top level, because if you don't take off the top level, you're not going to get the magic of these. It's almost like there's a force field on it. There's like a force field on it. There's a layer. You got to get rid of it to get the good magic. But this is what this one looks like. And I'm going to go ahead and put this on top just to give it just a little bit more oomph. It's more of a topper shade, I feel. And now do notice how it has dropped all over my face, and I have prepped my face, so I'll probably have to do it again. That's why glitter glue helps too, is that this is going to get on your face. It's gotten on my face, it will get on yours. But it's just really pretty. It's just a pretty beautiful topper, but get that grip, baby, get that grip. So then the way that I would go about the look that I'm kind of showing on the side is that I would go in here with this color, and then I would put it on the corner. And I tend to use my fingers more than most people. I know most people don't. I just feel like I get a better grasp, or I feel like I'm gentler on the eye when I do that, and you only have one set. Be kind to them. So I'm very gentle with it, and I just prefer being able to use my fingertips, and I feel that it helps for blending. You do what you need to do. These probably do work well with the brush. I don't do that, so if you want me to test it, I'll gladly do it, but I'm not feeling it right now. So there you go. So there you have it, and it's just a very simple look. I mean, you can, I really do say use a glitter glue because it's already starting to migrate, but I really do want to say that, more of that it is moving, that you could just go out like this. Honestly, you could get an eye look in like 5 minutes, and this would be the 5-minute eye look without all the yak. So basically, that's all you need is one of the gold shades. Put some of the darker shades, like this one or this one, in the corner, and the crease color, put it on your eyeliner, mascara, and go. And I did do that a couple times this week because it was just fast, and I still looked beautiful, you know, eye-wise, and I was ready to go. But if you want to take it further, of course you always can. And so what I would do in that case is I would go in with this, which is a really nice color, and then just go into the corner and fill this out just a little bit more to give it a little bit more dimension. But you don't even need that, and at times I didn't even do that. What I like about this palette is I think that it would work well for many different skin tones. And like I said, it's smart because it's cool, it's warm, it's neutral, it's like everything. So basically these go on quite well. They just go on quite well. And as I was saying, I feel like as somebody with fair skin like myself, sometimes Pat McGrath's shadows can be a little bit pigmented for my skin tone, and I'll always be going for a smoky look, so I'll have to bring in another palette. With this one, I don't need to bring in another palette. I think it's you can build it up quite well for somebody with deeper skin tones or medium skin tones. And then for someone like myself, you can just tone it down, and it works really well. And it just works as all around perfect palette, and I love it. So then what I want to do is go in with, and I thought I had already pulled this one out, go in with another color underneath the eye, just because, yeah, why not? And I think I'm just going to keep it with the lighter one because I don't want to go too smoky or anything. That's not how I want to roll today. I'm going to be filming quite a bit, so I'm going for kind of a neutral, boring look. Ooh. And yet I went in and I got that smoky look dream. I also didn't tap it off. There we go. So doing a little bit better with this eye. And knock off the excess and just kind of bring that together with this V here. A little bit darker than I wanted, but whatever. You can totally buff this out easily. These are really, like I said, I find these a little bit easier to work with than other palettes of Pat McGrath in the past. I just feel like they blend a little bit more easily, that is the mattes, than some of the other palettes that I've tried working with that didn't necessarily work that well for me. So I love this. I think all around this is a great palette. So I'm gonna go in with a Brussels Crow. And I only bring that up because I was reading something about gladiators today. Long story short, I'm an information nerd. Won't bore you. So there you go. So just kind of bring that out a little bit. This one's still a little bit darker, but it just blends really easily and it's just quite beautiful. And it's just such an easy eye look to do over and over and over. So then, if you want a little bit of sparkle in your inner corner, take one of these. And I really like this color. It's what I put on my lid mostly, but I just feel like this worked really well for an inner corner look. And I don't want to overdo it. It's just not what I'm about. Just a little bit to break this up a little bit. You can use a Fix Plus. I don't really want to because I just don't need all that much on there. So just a tad bit of sparkle. It's just beautiful. Ta-da! So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put on some mascara and eyeliner just to finish this up, and we'll go through this a little bit more. Okay, so this is the finished eye look. I don't have any blush or highlighter on because I'm doing a different video with that. So this is what we get for now. But what I do want to add a little bit of, and the light's changing quite a bit. It's been rainy and stormy and then sunny. It's confused, much like New York City itself. So what I want to do is just kind of put this here just to add a little bit of highlight. I like to do that. I know some people don't. It depends on my mood. I'm a moody creature. What I will say is that I'm still picking some of the sparkle off my face. There we go. It's just kind of pretty. Still picking up some of the sparkle off my face, and that's specifically from this one because this really is a very dry topper shade, and so it almost works better when you have something to cling on to, but I was putting it on top of this one, so it really doesn't have a lot to adhere to. I just don't want to double dip in the glitter glue, but that's just me. But this is like the go-to look that I was using all the time. It's just so easy to use. It's just, I went a little bit crazy there, but this was the go-to look. And what I'll do is I'll go ahead and show a couple pictures of the 2 times I think it is. Now the quality of these pictures is kind of questionable because I do it when I'm leaving, and if it's raining outside, it's going to have a more blue cast. It sometimes has more of an orangey cast if it's sunny. So yeah, I'm not going to Photoshop the hell out of this just for this, but it gives you a general idea. So one of them was one day that I was wearing it when I was going out just in a generic hallway before any of my neighbors came out. Yeah, apartment buildings, New York City. And this is kind of the eye look that I went for. I would say I did use this for over a week, but I used it specifically for a week to test it. But I would say I went with this generic eye look probably most of the time. And I would go back to this. And this is very kind of a standard binky look that I use all the time because I'd rather go with really bright lipstick rather than eyeshadow. That's just a preference. Also, I could take this from day to night by changing out my lipstick for a more dramatic look. And that's just how I roll. Some people just like dramatic eye looks all the time. Nothing wrong with that. So the one that I'm going to show now is I went with a little bit more so like this, and this kind of the party look. This was for a wedding that I went to, and so we were outside the church, and yeah, I haven't decided if I would probably just put me. I'm not going to put my friends in there. We were having a good old time, but I wanted something a little bit festive and, you know, but neutral still. And so I went with this almost exact eye look, and it just worked really well. So you can see how I got that doing the same exact thing. Going through the shadows, like I said, the mattes, which are these 2 here, and let me just swatch them as I talk to them, and I'll do close-up swatches as well. But these are the 2 mattes, and as you can see, they are really, really pigmented. Wiping my fingers in between, they're just really pigmented. Let's blend this one out a little bit more because it doesn't want to. There we go. So they pack a punch. But they're extremely blendable, and you can mix the two colors. Well, this one's a lot more neutral, while this one's a little bit more warm. But I did mix the colors sometimes for different shades, and it was just a really smart choice actually to put into the palette, because that's what makes it so wearable, because it has a nice mix of warm, cool, neutral all in there, which makes it very wearable, as I've said a few times. And the mattes were just fantastic, as you can see right there. So what I usually did was use this more rosy one, which is right here, and used it for the look at the wedding, along with the same exact thing with using this, which is a little bit more docile. This is a heck of a lot more docile if you just want to use day to day. It's like a bright satin kind of color, and you know, nobody's going to bat an eye at that. You can wear it to work, nobody's going to care. I encourage it. Stick it to the man. Versus this one, which is more of a topper, and again, it's very, very dry, and you can see even looking at my finger that it has this dryness to it. That's the one that's been flaking and getting everywhere. If you press strongly, it will lay down better, but you can see it still has the tendency to flake. And when I put it on this eye, it fell all over, and I had to redo my foundation, which is fine, takes 2 seconds. But if you're in a hurry in the morning, you're definitely going to want a glitter glue, because it does have a tendency to do that. So then the next eye look that I went to, which I'll show to the side, is I went with more of the rosy tones. Again, the same matte tones. I went with this one, and I always went in with the corner V with this guy, the darker one of the two, and it worked really lovely. But so I went in with this every time. Just so you know, I always went in with that one. And I decided to go with the more rosy look. So what I did, it's kind of hard to tell, this duochrome here is just, you can't really see, let me pull this up. You can't see it too well in the pan, but here it is on the finger. Hopefully it's picking up. It shifts kind of from a pearl color to a pink. So I wore that in the eye look that I'm showing now, and it's a very warm kind of pink. And really, really beautiful. Just a gorgeous color. And I loved it, but I also paired it with this guy here in the corner, which is more of like a rosy kind of, well, like mauve kind of satin color, but you could definitely put it in the outer V. I feel like I have a better time of putting light satins like this that are almost matte. They're right on the edge, and you could put them in the outer corner and they work really well. I know if you have dry eyes or older eyes, that you may not want that, because it does, you know, accentuate lines and things and crepiness if you have it, especially this time of year. Who doesn't? But this actually works really beautifully, so don't be afraid to use it like that, because it does really work well. So that's what I use for that eye look, is those colors there. I will say that this wasn't necessarily my favorite eye look, and I don't know, certain colors don't look great on certain people, and for me, because my skin is so fair, I felt like it made me look I don't know, like not my best self. I felt like it made me look, it looks better in the picture, but in certain lighting when I was out, I felt like it just made me look a little bit sick and washed out. And so though I do like this color, I feel like I would put it on something else, or I would just use it on the inner corner and use darker colors in the outer corners to make it work a little bit better, because it just wasn't doing me any favors personally. Maybe it's just a preference thing, but it's a beautiful color, but honestly, it just wasn't my favorite in the palette. But that's just a preference thing. Yeah, I would say it was probably my least favorite color. And it was kind of the one that I was looking forward to the most, just because the way it looks. But for some reason, it just tended to make me look a little bit tired and sickly. And that's not a look that I'm going for, unless I'm trying to call out of something. Which, there you go. There's a life lesson there. You can use makeup to make yourself look sicker than you are. I do not encourage it, just putting it out there. So then, the next look, moving on. I do not encourage that or condone it, especially for you young'uns out there, and even you older ones out there who aren't having it and want to stick it to the man. So the next look was more of a warm tone to show that you could do it. And I really love this look, actually, and I'll pop up a picture there. I love this look. And this shows how versatile this palette is, because yes, I went in with this as a light crease color, and dip your, brush in lightly if you're fair like me, and it works lovely. But then this one, it shows you how you can totally transform looks with this palette. You really can. You think, oh no, you can't get all these looks with just these two mattes. Yes, you can. And that's what I got from these two. So what I did was I took this one, and there's so many shades that kind of remind me of this, but yet don't quite get there. This is probably one of the most beautiful shades of the palette. This one is just phenomenal. Phenomenal, and my probably favorite. You can see it right there. I hope you can catch how beautiful it dances. It's like this peachy pink color. I don't have all the names. I think it was like VR Rose or something, but this, oh my gosh. This was just the standard gold next to it, so below it. So that's the standard gold on this finger, and then this is this amazing peachy pink gold color that just, it must be seen. There we go. And then your standard gold. Look at that. This thing is beautiful. This thing is beautiful, and I will wear this one over and over and over. I really think it is like the standout shade of this palette. It's just fantastic, and you can see on the eye, it just lays beautifully, and depending what angle, you know, it's like a duochrome. Whatever angle you're looking at, it just changes the eye look, and it's just so beautiful, but yet it's so wearable, and I just absolutely love it. I wore this twice, and I want to wear it again because it was just this beautiful, gorgeous eye look. This shadow alone, I'm not going to say it's worth the price of the palette. Again, you know, if you didn't pick it up and get it at a discount or for free, then yeah, it's a little bit different for you. But it's not worth $125. And if you're not from this country, it's a lot more. But because I know like Australia and things like that, it's insanity. But it's a beautiful color, and it well makes it worth it to me in so many ways. The last two colors that I want to talk about are the ones that I always put on the outer V, just so I can finish this up. This one's more of a neutral color, and actually, you know, they both kind of pull neutral. It's just this one's a little bit more plummy, and this one is, you know, like a pewter. Let's do this. There we go. And that's what it looks like. And honestly, I just love this color. I put both of these, I'd switch between both of these on the outer V, which I did today, and just put in the corner, dip my finger, and then put them on the edge, and then you had a look. And it was just so versatile. Looking at this, you can see how versatile this is. This palette is so wearable for everyone. And again, some people are going to look at it and go, this is really boring. But I think there's something to be said about wearable, because most people aren't going to go out with bright green, purple eyeshadow looks that are wild every day. You're not going to do that. I mean, some people do, and they can get away with it. Most people, I feel, cannot, especially if you're working everyday jobs like corporate jobs. You know, you're not going to be able to get away with that. If you're a school teacher, if you're, you know, a banker, if you're a lawyer, if you're a doctor, if you're customer service based, you know, working at an airport, these are the colors you're going to gravitate towards. And frankly, this palette sold out so quickly. It really did. And I think part of it was the advertising of it being limited edition. And I have a feeling it's not going to be limited edition. I tend to not like ploys like that. I will say, if you know it's not going to be, don't cause the hysteria. It's going to end up being on the regular roster. I guarantee it. So I don't really like that type of thing. I wish companies would stay away from that. It's just makeup. It's not like we're curing cancer here. And I'm not trying to be a jerk by saying that. It just sometimes that consumerism type thing kind of drives me nuts. In the grand scheme of your life, getting this palette is not a big deal. I'm not trying to get preachy, just putting it out there. I don't like that kind of advertising, though I love Pat McGrath's products. That didn't sit well with me. Don't cause this hysteria, especially when you know it's going to be permanent. Remember Bronze Seduction? Everybody wanted that too. It's on there. You can get it. It's never sold out anymore. Now it's like, you know, so just don't get caught up in the hype. Yeah, it's a fabulous palette. I absolutely love it. And I will say it's probably my favorite Pat McGrath palette, and I want to start using them all and rating them. And so it remains to be seen, because I haven't worked with some of them and I have most of them. But yeah, I think just because of how workable it is, how it's wearable. It's everyday wearable with a little bit of pizzazz. And I just think that speaks to people. I mean, look at that. You can see it has a little bit of pizzazz, but your boss isn't going to come out and go, what the hell's on your lids? Go photocopy this. No. They're not going to give you side eye. They're just going to come out and go do these expenses. Or, is that deck done? That's what's going to happen. Yeah. Because they're not going to think twice about this. They're just going to go, hey, you look good, but they're not going to be able to say it because it's against corporate policy now. I don't know. Corporate stinks. Anyway, unless you like corporate, and I'm not trying to insult you. That's a whole nother video. But yeah, nobody's going to bat an eye at this. It's really beautiful. Just a perfect palette. So as this is a very long video, I want to say that I absolutely adore this palette. I am so happy with this. It's probably my favorite Pat McGrath palette. I've said it, I will say it again. I just think it's wonderful. I think it is just so versatile in a way that's wearable for most people. I think it's one of the smartest palettes to come out. Yeah, there's a lot of fun palettes that, Pat McGrath has put out, but this, like the quad with the purple and the green, I try to get that. It sold out before I got it on her 30%, so I bought it and then they sent me a cancellation. Thank you. So I will never have it. But then again, I thought about it and I didn't see it as a bad thing because the only color I would really use is the gold. Pat McGrath loves gold versus, she has so many golds. Basically, and the purple I was never going to wear, and the green is the one that I was going for. And in the end, it was the universe saying no, because even at the 30% discount, that's really expensive for one or two shadows. So in the end, it was a really good choice that didn't happen. But yeah, so I just think it's a really great palette. And what I meant by that is those 4 quads is basically a lot of them weren't, well, 2 of them were wearable, but that one wasn't really wearable every day. And there's a few palettes that are like that with Pat McGrath. You could definitely make them work, but like with the pop of blue or bright green, this is what is going to work for the masses, I feel. And I feel like this is probably going to go down as one of her more popular palettes and will be put permanent in the permanent collection. I guarantee, quote me on that, because it's going to happen, because it would be kind of foolish not to. It really would, because neutrals just speak to the majority of people. But yeah, I just think this is a wonderful palette and the quality is fantastic. Are most of these dupable? Probably. I'm going to be honest with you. Most of these are probably dupable. I might go through my collection and dupe this for you. If you're interested in that, let me know so you won't feel badly. It's just that one shade. Whoo! This one, that one's going to be hard to dupe. I'm sure there's some indie brands out there that have it, but by the time you're paying for those individual shadows, I mean, you might as well just get this. But if you just want that one shade, no, I guess not. You're saving yourself a lot of money, but something to think about. But I think, yes, most of these are dupable. But it just depends if you like supporting Pat McGrath or you like her formula, then you probably want to pick this up, and it's going to be very popular. It's already proven to be popular, and it makes sense why. For me, I don't regret it. I love this. I love this. I think it's a fantastic palette. It wears really well. Let me just say that the shimmers and the special shades last all day on my eye. All day. I could go from 6 in the morning until 2 at night, and I have. Trust me, this is how I live my life, and it looks fantastic. It's still there. The matte shades last a good 8 to 10 hours, and I have oily skin. They last 8 to 10 hours before the grease starts coming through, and it changes the color just slightly, and it doesn't look as matte. It started happening around the 8 to 10 hour mark, depending on what I was doing, which I think is very fair, but it didn't fade. Like for me, the shadows don't fade too much. They just get a little bit darker and less matte because the grease is coming through and going, heck no, I'm crashing this party. And so that did happen. But it still looks beautiful. It still looks really wearable, and the special shades did not shift at all. No creasing. Fantastic. Just use a glitter glue, especially with this shade. Use a glitter glue, and if you want the special colors to pop any of these, please use a glitter glue or a Fix Plus, and they will stick, and you will get the dramatic eye look that you see in a lot of the videos and things. You just got to work for it. Some people may not like that because, in my opinion, you shouldn't have to work that hard to get the shadows to work. If you're paying $125, they should practically put themselves on your eye. That's just my argument, but they don't. So if you want a very soft, safe look, You don't need to use the glitter glue, and you can just put them on office friendly, day-to-day friendly. But if you want in your face kind of look that you see on the videos, walk around with great lighting, and use a glitter glue or Fix Plus, and you will definitely get that. And I really have no complaints about this palette. I really don't. I mean, even the mattes, so satisfying, and normally they disappoint me with Pat McGrath. They're really difficult to work with normally, but these are beautiful. So 100% thumbs up on this palette. Please let me know what you think. Are you interested? Do you think it's going to become permanent? Because I do. And how do you feel about it in the grand scheme of Pat's palettes? Because I would love to hear. Hope you found this informative. And until next time, my friend, have a fabulous day. Bye.